And last week we explored the practices of yoga that encompass our relationship to the external world. And today we're going to explore the practices of yoga which involve internalization, deeper study. Of course, the latter is more difficult, I think. It seems to be a little bit more accessible to journey outwards. We can see tangible people and we can relate. When we go inside, there's less of a solid basis on which we can ground the practice. It's a little bit more mysterious, and even though we've been living as ourselves all our lives, objectivity is difficult, and so the internal practices are a tad more advanced, actually. So, as always, when we're learning anything, we are patient and compassionate. And we mustn't hide from ourselves. And so in my personal practice, I've been working on and around shame. And I think in many cultures, there's a sort of norm that is set where we hide. Sometimes we lie to protect ourselves against how we perceive we'll be judged. Sometimes we don't communicate at all. And then we become so used to interacting with the world in that way that we forget how to communicate with ourselves. We forget how to tell the truth to ourselves. We forget to really listen to what's going on. And that's where shame lives. For each and every one of us, there's different stuff we have to deal with. There are different obstacles, be they self-imposed or otherwise. Dealing with those things begins with honesty, begins with a recognition of what is. So really just look in now to yourself. My journey with shame might not be relevant to you, so whatever is relevant to you, look into that. What might you be avoiding? And we've done work like this before, but this is quite specific to the internal yogas which we practice. So we go into that in more depth in a wee bit. Allow yourself just to see exactly what is. No judgment, no judgment, no judgment. Just examine what is. Let yourself be free of guilt or any emotion that binds you. Just let it go. Observe what is without any narrative or complication. We have this great capacity, even though in our human lives we're running around like busy bees trying to sort out and problem solve. Even through all that, we have this wonderful capacity to connect in with that which is divine within. And even though the pedestrian stuff has to be dealt with, we can go into a more vast place inside and take shelter there. So we'll do our chant, our invocation to Patanjali, thanking him for codified system of yoga which we practice, which helps us in our daily lives. And we take the palms to Anjali Mudra, acknowledging the gift of yoga to ourselves. And we'll do our chant, call and repeat, taking a big breath in to prepare. We'll chant Om together. Om Yogena Chittasya Padena Vacham Malam Sharirasya Chavaidhyakena Yopakarotam Pravaramuninam Patanjalim Pranjaliranatosmi. Bringing the hands down onto the legs, and let's take Jnana Mudra, so the tips of the index fingers on the tips of the thumbs. And just keep fingers 3, 4, and 5 relaxed. So there's no effort in extension there. Palms facing down. And bring calmness now to the breath. So as we're entering into the internal sections of our practice, today we're going to maintain a softer, more internalization kind of based breathing. So rather than breathing in a way that is deep, we're breathing in a way that is slow and deep. So there's depth, there's width, there's broadness in the ribs, but we're really consciously slowing it down and making it a little softer. So when we just do a deep breath, there's an emphasis on volume, both in terms of decibel levels and indeed the size of the breath, how much we're taking in. We're still aware of those two types of volume, but we're making everything just come into this slow motion, very focused, deliberate kind of a vibration. A subtle difference, but there nonetheless. Now be aware of what this does to your mind. Hopefully you can feel that there's an added focus. And with the body, there's more of a sense of relaxation. So we're not preparing the body for some great feat like sun salutations. We're coming into a more sort of private place, a deeper inside place. And you can do ujjayi with the contraction in the throat if you wish, or just a simple sinus breath. Whatever makes you feel more steady and calm. With this kind of breathing, I like to have a focus on the exhale moving down rather than out. It is slightly abstract. It might not be relevant to you, but I'm sharing in case it is. And so I breathe obviously through the nostrils with the inhale. And on the exhale, I imagine that I'm sending the breath down through the oropharynx, through the lungs, through the belly, through the pelvis into the earth. If that makes no sense at all, just let it go. Just come into your own rhythm. Adjusting anything in the body-mind system and indeed the breath itself so that you can be composed and peaceful.